Wildlife is disappearing at a rate that scientists have never seen before in human history. This isn't a slow, natural shift. It's a rapid decline happening across continents, ecosystems, and species. The key reason is simple, but the scale is massive. Human activity is changing the planet faster than wildlife can adapt. Start with habitat loss, the biggest driver. Animals don't just live in nature, they depend on very specific environments. Forests, wetlands, grasslands, coral reefs, each one provides food, shelter, and conditions that species have adapted to over thousands or even millions of years. Now, those environments are shrinking. Forests are cleared for agriculture, wetlands are drained for development, grasslands are converted into farmland, oceans are affected by coastal expansion and pollution. And it's not just the size of habitats that matters, it's fragmentation. Instead of one large, continuous habitat, animals are left with small, isolated patches. Imagine a population of animals split by roads, cities, or farms. They can't move freely, find mates easily, or access enough resources. Over time, that isolation leads to decline, even if some habitat still exists. Next is overexploitation. Humans hunt, fish, and harvest wildlife at a scale that far exceeds natural regeneration. Industrial fishing, for example, doesn't just catch target species, it also captures unintended animals, damaging entire marine ecosystems. Poaching adds another layer. Some species are hunted illegally for profit: ivory, exotic pets, traditional medicine, or luxury goods. Even if it targets specific animals, the impact spreads through the ecosystem. Then there's pollution. This doesn't always look dramatic, but its effects are widespread. Plastic waste ends up in oceans and is ingested by marine animals. Chemicals from agriculture like pesticides and fertilizers run off into rivers and lakes, disrupting aquatic life. Air pollution affects not only humans but also plants and animals, altering ecosystems in subtle but harmful ways. Light and noise pollution also play a role. Many species rely on natural light cycles or sound cues for navigation, hunting, and reproduction. Artificial disruptions interfere with those behaviors. Climate change adds another layer of pressure. Temperatures are rising, weather patterns are shifting, seasons are becoming less predictable. For wildlife, timing is critical. If plants bloom earlier but pollinators don't adjust at the same rate, food chains start to break. If animals migrate based on temperature cues that no longer match reality, they can arrive too early or too late. Some species can adopt or move to new areas, but many can't. Mountain species run out of elevation. Island species have nowhere to go. Marine life faces warming waters and ocean acidification, which affects everything from coral reefs to shellfish. Another overlooked factor is invasive species. As humans move goods and travel globally, species are introduced into new environments where they don't naturally belong. Without natural predators, they can spread rapidly and outcompete native species. This disrupts ecosystems that evolved in balance over long periods. Now here's where things become more serious. These factors don't act independently, they combine. A species losing habitat is already under stress. Add climate change, pollution, and competition from invasive species, and survival becomes much harder. This is why extinction rates are accelerating. Scientists often refer to this period as a potential sixth mass extinction, comparable to past events that wiped out large portions of life on Earth, but this time driven by human activity. Another important point, not all species disappear at once. Some decline slowly, populations shrink, genetic diversity decreases, ecosystems weaken. By the time a species is officially declared extinct, the damage has been usually happening for decades. And even before extinction, the loss of wildlife affects ecosystems. Predators keep prey populations in balance, pollinators support plant reproduction, decomposers recycle nutrients. Remove one piece and the system starts to shift. Remove enough and the system can collapse or transform into something entirely different. There's also a human dimension. Many communities depend directly on wildlife for food, income, and cultural identity. As wildlife declines, those systems are disrupted too. So what's driving all of this at the deepest level? It comes down to scale and speed. Human population growth combined with industrialization and global consumption has expanded the demand for land, resources, and energy. Technology has made it possible to extract and transform environments faster than ever before. In the past, ecosystems had time to recover from disturbances. Now, changes happen continuously without enough time to recover. That's the core problem. So what can actually slow or reverse this trend? Protecting habitats is the most effective step. Large, connected, protected areas allow species to survive, move, and adapt. Sustainable resource management is also critical. Fishing, forestry, and agriculture need to operate within limits that ecosystems can handle. Reducing pollution, especially plastics and chemicals, helps restore balance in many environments. Addressing climate change is essential for long-term stability, and controlling invasive species can protect vulnerable ecosystems. But none of these solutions work in isolation. They require coordination across governments, industries, and communities. They also require a shift in how resources are used and valued. Because in the end, wildlife isn't disappearing by accident. It's the result of systems that prioritize short-term gains over long-term stability. Changing that is difficult, but it's the only way to slow the loss. Wildlife can recover in many cases. Ecosystems are resilient, but only if the pressure is reduced before the damage becomes irreversible.